This is a very unique podcast for us tonight, and I didn't tell the guys, but I won a pretty exclusive free pick'em this week, which got me a promotion from one of the DFS kind of touts of the industry, Pat Mayo. I won his pick'em contest, so I basically got a shout out for that win, which obviously should boost the podcast because the Twitter account is the podcast banner. So thanks for everyone who follows, and like maybe we'll have some different viewerships because of that. So hopefully we present a good representation of what we do. Basically, I'm going to be the same person I am always, but when we have these opportunities, it just gives us a larger scope and an ability to really appreciate things on a grander level. And I know Donnie, for example, wanted to talk about college football tonight because of the selection committee and their choices, and like it made me think of that because there's a lot of good choices you can make even in a DFS lineup, with whether it be college, whether it be March Madness, and but you can't play them all. You know, like we see it each week. People say, "Well, I want to play CMC," or "I want to play Tyreek," and it's like, yeah, we all know those are good plays. What we do here, though, is whether it be a pillar lineup, whether it be discussions, how do you make it work with a lineup? How do you, like that's what I'm always into is like the process of something. It's not to say one player is better than the other. It's like how do you make it work within a lineup? So, Donnie, we can get on to the spread picks. You can start with the college topic however you want, but I just thought that was a brilliant way to kind of introduce this topic of like selection Sunday, if you will.
Yeah. I just want to go ahead and talk a little bit about the college stuff first because I think it's very interesting what's going on, and this is why it needed to be fixed, and I'm glad it's getting fixed
Mm-hmm.
because we can genuinely say right now there are 6 teams, maybe 7, that deserve a spot. Definitively just deserve to be in the playoffs, and they could beat anyone and lose to anyone of that 7 probably any week. But it's going to come down to recency bias probably, and who's played who. Maybe that's why teams should have scheduled harder games early on or later on in the schedule. You could argue that maybe it's just you needed to get as many wins as possible, and that's why you schedule your week schedules. But with Bama beating Georgia today, it's hard to say Bama doesn't get in, I would assume.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia was already 1, so how do they drop from number 1 in the nation all the way out of the 5 or 4, whatever wherever they drop them? Florida State, I mean, they played great all season long, but just lost their quarterback to an injury. Michigan, they're Michigan. They have the cheating allegations, which I don't think will play into it unless they find random proof out of nowhere. And, I know you mentioned earlier before we went live, Ohio State's only loss with Michigan. That's something. I hate how college football is set up right now. And I know they're fixing it, but it's taken way too long. I don't know why they ever thought 4 teams in the playoffs would have been enough. I don't know how much teams there are. Logan, do you know how many teams there are or no?
In college, in like Division One,
Just in general, college Division 1 that
I
something
want to say there's like over 500.
like that's stupid. There's no reason.
Excuse me. Sorry.
There's no reason why it should be such a low number that gets in. And 12 is probably too much, maybe, but at least it fixes your problem. You can't argue that 13 and 14.
You don't really remember, but like even not being a college fan, I remember like in the 90s when it was like the AP poll, there wasn't even a BCS championship that they did. There were legitimately only like 2 or 3 teams anyone ever thought was going to win the title in a given year.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a third team came out of nowhere and won it, like Miami in the 80s and stuff. But like most of college football has not been like there are 6 teams that have a shot. Why don't we have an 8-team playoff? So I completely understand why they went to 4. Usually it's just Alabama versus 1 or 2 other teams. Can we get those 3 to 4 in a playoff? That's what they were most likely thinking. Like through most of the BCS era, that's what it was. It was like 1 team, and maybe there were 2 other ones that could challenge, but there was usually not 5 or 6 where you would want that. Somehow we get to the playoff, and in the first like 3 years of the playoff, you have like 5 or 6 teams that look good, which has not been normal in college football from what I've seen through my life.
Well, maybe this is the product of the NIL stuff. Because
Maybe.
more players are getting, which is a great thing for the sport that we have so many teams that can win. It's awesome that there's so many games that can be played at such a high level. But the fact that we've come to the point of we have to wait, a lot of these kids are getting their last chance and they won't even have a shot at the title because we don't have enough space for them. That's stupid. And Bama, they looked awful to start of this year, but they're going to probably make it in because they just beat Georgia, who's number 1. And they're the SEC champion, which maybe it shouldn't matter, but it does. I don't know what Logan feels about that. But
well, I already said, like, to me, it's like a grander scale of process because you could make the argument for Ohio State. You could make the argument for Texas. You could make the argument for maybe a dozen teams. But the problem is who are the best 4 isn't the right answer. Who are the most relevant 4 isn't the right answer. And so the scope there isn't the sample size basically for the college season and like the weight of these games is not fairly distributed to the point that it is irrelevant because it comes down to a bias, whether that bias is A, B, or C. And so even if we get good games with these Final Fours, it's like there's still going to be the argument that 15, no matter who that is.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. How do you, like, Georgia's 12-1, they only lost to Bama, who might be in. Maybe they're not in. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But how do you not give them a chance at three-peating? They won the last 2. They're 29-1 with only losing to Bama this past week. They went over 700 days without losing a game. How do you not give them a chance to three-peat?
Well, I guess my only last point would be this. It's like all we can do is try to find 4 really good teams, 4 really good matchups, and enjoy that process. And then we can hope that it's 8 teams and it's 12 teams and maybe it's 24 teams later. And then maybe the tournament gets a more proper due as the years go on. But the NL deal has helped because there are a lot of players that don't even want to play in bowl games, even though they're supposed to be prestigious bowl games, because they're like, hey, I can make more money in the NFL. Or, I got to prepare for the NFL draft because that's where, my generational wealth is. And so, like, to tie it back to, like, gambling, it's like there are good plays that we are going to miss on this week that we aren't going to play because we have a salary cap or there are certain things that you can't fit in a lineup even if we want to or even if we think those players are good. And so, like, the worst thing you can do as a fan, in my opinion, is, like, have that hindsight bias of saying, like, well, if I would have played the Millie, and I would have played Tyreek Hill, of course I would have won this week. And so, like, that's the stuff that bothers me the most, whether it's college, whether it's DFS, like, whatever your convictions are, to stick with that, stick with a process, and then let the chips fall where they may after that. That's kind of my thought process.
My thing is, when they make their decision, I want to hear the decision on why they did it. Because my process right now would be listing the reasons on why they should miss. I'm not listing the reasons on why they should be in first. And that will matter secondhand. But the reasons why they should miss are at the top of my mind. And it's unfair to say Florida State should miss because their quarterback's hurt. But guess what? At this point, it has to matter. And it shouldn't, but it does.
Well, I was going to let Gov and Evan have any points they want, but, like, we're going to talk about spreads. And like, that's the thing about gambling that's really annoying, too, is there's always a person, like, after the game has already started or pretty much already over. Like, oh, of course I knew the Cardinals were going to beat the Cowboys this week. It's like, yeah, you say that in the fourth quarter with like 5 minutes left in the game. Like, of course, anyone can use their eyeballs and make these kind of judgments when, hindsight is already taken effect. So just don't be that guy. Whether you like college, whether you hate it, whether you have a natural bias, like whatever it is, just don't be that guy to like make the obvious kind of painful, if you will. Evan, Gov, you have any thoughts on that?
No, this is not a topic I have much thoughts on, honestly.
That's fine.
That's fair.
I just
you're
feel
good,
like it's
and I'm glad we can get it out there, though. Like, I try to add what I can, but I have not much on
It's
this.
a relevant conversation to have. That's why I wanted to do it in the first 10 minutes. No point in putting a whole show to it.
Well, I truly love that Guff had no like rebound either. We're not like first take where we're like, you have to have a take, or like we're not that kind of show. We don't do that kind of stuff. So we can get on to the spread now if you're ready.
Unless Evan had something to say.
I don't follow college football enough to have an educated opinion on the matter, so I'll pass.
All right. Well, let's get straight to the spread then. Do we want to do announce a group pick and then pick, or do you?
Yeah, go ahead. You have the information. I'll give you the floor.
All right. This week we're gonna do Lions against the Saints. They're favored at 4.5. The Saints are definitively, just in my opinion, not close to as good. Olave's banged up, which is a big deal. Your second best receivers, A.T. Perry, which I think is a very talented kid. I want to see him succeed. He's a big guy, great jump ball receiver, I'm sure. But he was a 6th-round pick for a reason.
Yeah, he's got a Mike Williams like body. He's definitely going to have the opportunity. We'll see what he can do with it. I think this is a sneaky good game in terms of points. I don't usually bet overs, but if I did, this would be a game I would consider. I know the Lions, for example, were really disappointed with their lack of what Ben Johnson called their lack of creativity, and felt like they were too vanilla, and basically were resting on the laurels when it came to, playing the Packers. Basically, he didn't feel like they brought enough flavor and enough diversity, and that was part of the reason that they got up to the slow start. And so they're playing angry this week. Whether that's good or bad or indifferent, I do think we're going to see some wrinkles. And so I think that could be good for fantasy at least.
Yeah, and the Saints defense, they're good, but I don't think they're going to be good enough to stop this much improved high-powered offense that the Detroit Lions have. I don't want to compare them to the New York Jets in having a similar problem where the defense is so much more productive than their offense, but I think that's what's going to happen in this game too, and I think that's why this group pick is perfect.
Yeah, with New Orleans having no offensive weapons, like Olave may still get cleared, but it's not likely he gets cleared from the concussion. So like, no weapons on New Orleans. Detroit with the extra days, like they should just come in hot and win.
Yeah. No Rashid Shaheed either.
Yeah, exactly. No Michael Thomas, maybe no Olave, definitely no Shaheed. Like, Detroit should smash this game.
Yeah.
So Taysom Hill season, right?
Honestly, maybe Taysom. If they're going to be productive on offense, Taysom Hill probably has to do one big play.
I mean, Taysom Hill is basically their Swiss Army knife of an offensive player. He's good at a lot of things in football, but not great at any of them. So he's going to have to get crafty, right?
And when you're down a couple of players, Evan, maybe you use your Swiss Army knife more than you typically would, because you need that versatility. And literally, you need it from all these different positions. Why not play the chameleon, who's known for playing multiple positions?
Yeah, and Derek Carr has to throw to somebody.
It does make some sense. And the Lions are typically a team that does give it up over the middle to tight ends.
Yep.
But we can get on to our individual picks this week, because I do think we have a lot of good takes to get to this week, and I don't want to linger too much.
Yeah, there's a lot of football I want to talk about, because I'm going to say it right now before we get into it. This is probably my favorite slate all year.
Yeah. And Evan had the first pick, I believe, in our spread. Yes. I just want to mention really quickly, he is playing hurt. So salute to Evan this week. If you guys notice a slight difference, he is on our injury report. Speaking of the Saints injury report, Evan's on our injury report. playing hurt for us. So I appreciate that very much. But Evan, you can kick us off here if you'd like.
Yeah, so I will be trying to think with a football mind while having COVID-19 right now, which sucks, but I'm not feeling too bad. I'm well enough to at least talk football, so I'm going to get on with this first pick here. So I am going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers at -6.5 over the Arizona Cardinals. I think this is a perfect game for the Steelers to get back into this with no more Matt Canada holding back this offense. Steelers are actually allowed to have games with over 400 passing yards all over again. Actually, not even just passing yards, cumulative yards. This Cardinals defense, in case you haven't been paying attention all season, is absolutely horrendous. The Cardinals defense has given up 4,302 yards, third most in the NFL, most first downs in the NFL, fourth most passing touchdowns in the NFL. I mean, I could go on and on with the statistics. I don't want to bore you all to death with it, but they are just not fucking good at defense, rushing or passing. So I don't see why the Steelers can't just run all over the Cardinals. And I think this could be a great comeback game for Kenny Pickett as well, where Deontay Johnson can get back into it, Pickens can get back into it, and Freiermuth up the middle. I think the Steelers are just going to completely demolish the Cardinals here. What do you guys think?
I agree. How many times do you think in the middle of this likely boring game and or blowout are they going to reference the Super Bowl? Because that's the only thing anyone's going to be care about, honestly. Santonio Holmes is going to be on TV all day long.
Oh, right. They played in the Super Bowl. That was a long time ago.
It was. One of the more iconic plays was Harrison picking off Kurt
That wasn't
Warner.
even the Carson Palmer Cardinals. That was the goddamn Kurt Warner ones.
Yeah,
Good
that
Lord,
was-
that was a
Yeah.
long time ago.
Yeah, it
Jesus.
was a long time ago.
How the hell did you
20
remember that one, Di? Good Lord.
2009, baby.
So sorry, go ahead. What do you guys think?
No, I want to see I would not be afraid to go to the Steelers offense in this game. I do think we saw enough difference that I actually liked. I wouldn't mind going back to the running backs in this game either. I think Warren had a very pedestrian game, but I thought the opportunities were there. The only problem is I don't like that they still split with Harris, but there is more offensive explosion in this game, and I think it's one of those games that kind of gets lumped together and might go under the radar given this week when we built some lineups. So I'll save that, but that's kind of my thought. I think the Steelers are a lot more fun to watch on offense. So as a fan, I just appreciate that.
Yeah, and speaking of running the football between Najee Harris and Jalen Warren, it's worth noting that the Cardinals defense gave up 16 rushing touchdowns so far this year, which is the second most in the NFL, behind the Giants and Panthers. So in the red zone, they are not good at defending their own goal.
I'm glad you had
James
the
Conner
numbers.
game.
Well, I didn't have the numbers on what Evan did, but I knew the Cardinals were very bad about the run. A lot of people know about the Panthers, but like you say, the Cardinals just go up a lot of touchdowns on a weekly basis. They're definitely a team you want to target.
Yeah, and in the air, they gave up 21 passing touchdowns, which is fourth most in the NFL. So their secondary is really not that much better, if you can call it better.
Yeah. That's pretty simple, I think, about this one.
Yeah, this Cardinals fucking defense is a horrible mess, and I would expect the Steelers to blow them out.
Okay.
It's Logan's pick.
Your turn, Logan.
I want to make sure that the number is still what I think it is, but I definitely want some interest in this game. I'm going to go to, I want the Rams -4.
You.
Look, Jim Schwartz.
That's number one.
Yeah, but Jim Schwartz and Matthew Stafford, people forget. Jim Schwartz was the Lions coach for a long time. Well, basically when Matthew Stafford was in his prime. And he's been a really good defensive coordinator, but I do think Stafford does a lot of things that will anger or disrupt, I should say, Jim Swartz' defense. Like if anyone's going to get him, I think it is the kind of shot play nature of this offense. And let's not forget, if we like Kyron Williams and the Rams getting back to full health last week, the stability and the longer the season goes on, the more Cooper Kupp has time to recuperate. Like I just feel like this offense is getting healthier and healthier, and it's only -4 with Joe Flacco off the street. It doesn't look like Thompson's going to play, but even if Thompson plays, then you got the rookie narrative. So I just think it should be +7 or at least.
Flacco was named starter already, but
Right. So that's my point. It's like he could be a Super Bowl champion. He could have this historic run, but that was a long time ago. We talked about it with the Cardinals and Steelers game. That Super Bowl being a long time ago. Like Joe Flacco being relevant was a long time ago.
What, you don't think he's going to pull a W out of his ass anymore?
But even if he does, like, say I'm wrong about this, and I'm being serious. Like, if I'm wrong, then like, okay, I'll eat it. It's fine. But I think this number is wrong. So whether they pull the upset or not, it would be an upset, Evan. That's my point. And it's like, you're only going to lay 4 points with a guy coming off the street. I don't. And quarterback's the most important position on the field, and you're using a street quarterback. I'll take -4 with the Rams.
Yeah, I mean, I like that term "street quarterback" because he just comes in already not being signed by a team, making Flacco sound like he's like an undrafted rookie or something like that. Which is, I knew exactly what you meant by that too. But the Rams are so well coached that I don't see how they're going to lose to the Browns in this one.
And, well, I said that to have respect for Flacco, actually, because I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback for them for the rest of the season. But I think to expect him to come in and have this synergy with a guy like David Njoku or a guy like Cooper right away and like pick up this offense, like just because Dobbs showed superior intelligence to do that right away, it's not easy to pick up a playbook, and plug it in and have all this chemistry with your teammates. Like I've been a coach before. I know chemistry. I know what it takes to run a team on just an amateur level. So I can't imagine how difficult it would be on a professional level. That's why I can't agree with that spread.
let's get to the next game. Go.
All right. Let's make this simple. I love this game. We're going to probably talk a lot about it while we're building lineups. I'm going to take the Niners.
I hate you. I hate you so much.
Hate you. Hate you both. Hate you.
I like that
You
play.
both did it to me. You both did it to me.
Oh, I shouldn't be laughing like that.
That Disney laugh speaks to it, though. There's a lot of good games I like this week, though. Why do you like this one?
This just looks like a really good game, like environment. I think it could be high scoring, but I feel like this is also like a key game for tiebreakers and to like show the NFC playoffs. And that just sounds like the kind of game that San Francisco is going to win right now.
Yeah.
And Philly is going to be riding a high after winning last week in that overtime game against Buffalo. So I'll take the Niners to cover a field goal. It is still at 3, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. Sorry.
I'll take them to cover -3.
All right.
Yeah, and that's going to be an interesting one for sure because the Niners are definite Super Bowl contenders, but the Eagles have been winning ugly all season except against the Jets. So
You guys have picked 2 of my top 3. So thank you. I guess I'll
It
just
sucks
go
when you
ahead.
go to last.
Yeah, I guess I'm just gonna go ahead and pick Logan's favorite team in the world. The Chargers at -5.5 with Bailey Zappi starting at quarterback, which I don't think he's awful, but he's a backup to Mac Jones, or was a backup to Mac Jones for a reason. Uh, who's playing receiver this week for the Patriots? Maybe Devontae Parker if he decides he can come back. You have Juju, who has done nothing all season. The rest of the names are slipping my mind.
Well,
I think.
to your point, briefly though, Donnie, Douglas has looked pretty good this season as a rookie, and he's going to miss.
He's not
That's a
playing.
big miss.
That's a huge miss because
Right.
he's not to this level yet. But I really do think he could be to the level of the premier slot receivers of a Amon-Ra, of a Chris Olave, those kind of guys. I think he can reach that level in the right offense, with time. So for him not to be in this game when he's already taking so much of the target share as a rookie, it's massive.
I mean, we talked about legacy football, whether it be a couple Super Bowls, former Super Bowl quarterbacks. A lot of people that don't follow the ins and outs of football might not realize how good of a season he's had because the Patriots have been historically bad this season.
And they haven't scored. He has not scored a touchdown all year,
right?
But he has been receiver number one most of the season, and he took it fast. We've heard it since the offseason where Douglas is a guy to be very worried about, and the Patriots don't have that come out of camp very often.
The last point I'll say, I'll get back to Evan for his second pick here is
it's swinging back to me with Snake.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, I forgot we snake it, but it's the Chargers still have a chance to make the wild card where the Patriots are completely out. So, in a game that just looks ugly, at least take the team that's still fighting for some desperation. The Patriots are a dead horse at this point.
I have an interesting question about the Patriots. So when they played the New York Giants last week, Hunter Henry and Mike Gesicki both had their usual snap shares, and Gesicki got 2 targets which were uncatchable, and Hunter Henry got nothing. How do you not get the tight ends involved against one of the worst defenses in the NFL? And is that going to be a thing against the Chargers?
You know what's funny about that, though? And this was a known fact, Mike Gesicki and Mac Jones are great friends. And he has gotten no work all season, it felt like.
Yeah.
So he can't get his tight ends to football. And we've been through a lot of tight ends since Gronk has left. And I'm starting to wonder if it's just a Mac Jones thing.
It could be. Danny, what's your second pick?
Well, you said dead horse, and this horse ain't dead yet. I'm taking the Broncos +3, baby.
Oh, God.
I think they're better.
That's right.
I think they're on a great win streak that is not phony. They started off the season awful. They're finally in stride. Russ has been playing relatively good football. They have their coach. I don't know what. I'm a believer again. They lost me for a little bit, but I'm a believer.
This is a game that I don't really want a lot of fantasy points from because I think both defenses are underrated for different reasons at different points in the
I
ranking.
love this game fantasy-wise.
Yeah.
Also, Tank Dell was questionable most of this week. He is playing, but we'll see how good he is.
I just don't think either team's going to push one another, and I think both defenses are good, which keeps the point total down. I think it's going to be a fun game to watch. It's like a historian of football, or if you like defensive football, but I don't think there's going to be a lot of points.
Yeah, and the streak that Donnie just mentioned is for real too, because the Broncos, along with the Eagles, are one of 2 teams that have gone 5-0 in their last 5 games. And Sean Payton is a legit good head coach, making lemonade out of lemons.
Well, and Russ, as much as we joke about him, and he's kind of the lead, the lead horse of the whole making fun of the Broncos thing. He statistically had a great season.
Statistically, yes, he's quietly having a terrific season. Even though he looks like he's over the hill as far as his prime goes, but
bit, yes.
He's still making it work. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm. Look, I like both offenses for how condensed they are. You know where the target share is going. You know where the ball. Both quarterbacks trust only a certain percentage of their team. But I just don't want to have too much weighted expectation on these teams because I don't think either one of these teams really want to push one another. They're not looking to spark things offensively. I think these are 2 really good defensive teams. There is one cheap value play that I will probably play this week, and that's Brendan Jordan. But other than that, I'm pretty much off this game. Gov, do you have any points you want to make about this game?
No. Like
I said it last.
not really.
I
no,
think-
no.
Yeah, I think Houston's reached their ceiling. They're pretty much at that point where they're going to start dipping down. You're going to give me plus points on this Broncos team. I'll take it.
Yeah, I haven't
I
seen
don't trust the
that.
Broncos, but like I get why you're doing it.
I bet this game. I bet Denver. I'm on the same side, dude. But just from a fantasy perspective, I'm off the game. So, like, the spread would be the only way I would attack it for the most part.
All right, Gov.
All right.
You guys are going to make me scroll, I think, with this time.
Do I take a blowout game or do I try to make a pick 'em? That's the question. Well, the pick'ems actually look pretty good. This one actually looks pretty good.
I love this week, man. I really do.
But then again, this blowout's probably gonna happen. Okay, I'll just take the blowout. Monday night,
yeah.
Jags to cover. Blow out the Bengals.
This is your first time
minus
picking
9.5.
Jags. Yeah, 9.5 is the spread.
Yep. I will take the Jags 9.5. The Bengals know that their season's done without Burrow.
Pretty much, yeah. That's what it feels like. I would have loved to see AJ McCarron get a chance, but I don't think he's going to get one.
Jags home game Monday night. Like, this should be...
The Jags have disappointed a lot this year in like certain games that it feels like they. I don't know. Right,
but this is the one that they. This is the one they can't. This is their national television game Monday night. Everyone's going to watch them. It was supposed to be against a really good team. They still need to show up for this game. If they treat this high-profile game like, oh, it's just the Bengals, whatever, then that will tell me a lot on whether or not Jacksonville has a shot this year. They need to come and show up for this game.
Yes.
So I'm going to take my shot on them doing that. They are going to fuck me, aren't they?
I think so.
Yeah.
As a Jags rooter, I do think so.
Uh-huh.
Although the statistics say that you're probably not wrong, and they're probably not going to fuck you because the Cincinnati Bengals are 1-6 against conference teams, but they're 4-0 against non-conference teams. Figure that one out, Bengals.
They bungled it.
The Bengals should be in the NFC, yes.
I want to make a quick point here. Usually, I have good profit margins when it comes to the smaller, more condensed playoff slates of fantasy football. So like the 3-game playoff slates, the wild cards. Those are like when most people start paying attention to a team like Jacksonville. But if we're being honest, I think Jacksonville has been pretty consistent and pretty good all year. They had one like hiccup against the 49ers, and unfortunately that was like a marquee game. That was a game that most people tuned in on. But I actually think this is another chance for them to kind of right that ship, as you mentioned, being on a Monday night. I think this is where Trevor Lawrence really shows through and kind of has like, because I've always thought that Trevor Lawrence and Justin Herbert were more like on even ground in terms of like their skill level, and for some reason, just people seem to think Justin Herbert is like the future, and I don't think Trevor Lawrence gets enough credit with that's in that argument. And I think Zay Jones being back is a big deal for the Jags. For some reason, whether you guys actually have a data point on this or not, whenever Zay Jones is in the lineup, Calvin Ridley gets open more often. I do know that to be the case. So maybe that's coincidence or whatever, but I do think there is some firepower coming back to that Jags team. I like that pick a lot.
Well, here's the thing with the Jags and the whole Justin Herbert point. Trevor Lawrence has disappointed me a lot this year because I thought he was going to have a way better season than he's having. when you can't throw against the blitz, or when you're under pressure, whatever you want to say, that's a very big knock on a quarterback. To be one of the worst under pressure quarterbacks, that's, you do look at that. That's not something people can say about Justin Herbert, and that's the difference between them right now.
Donnie, I think you said it though. It's right now. Like right now, Evan doesn't feel 100% because he's ill. Like you got to remember, Trevor Lawrence had the knee injury early. That definitely did affect his, his offensive output. I do think people can get better throughout the season. So like, just because some of the numbers suggest something early on in the season doesn't mean that you won't right the ship. And like to me, that's a coaching thing. And I think like the Jags under Peterson have the right kind of coach to keep the team above board. And I do think there's a point to that I think gives them an advantage. Where like I don't like Taylor at all, and that's one of my problems with the Bengals. Because you guys know I've not been a Bengals guy, and one of the reasons is Zach Taylor. I don't think he's a good coach, and so like I just like the Jags overall, a completely better team than Cincinnati. Any other?
All right, next pick.
This Bengals defense is not good at all. I think the Jaguars will have no problem blowing them out on a Monday night, boring everybody to death. You know how it is at those primetime games.
Yeah.
Hey, they did flex the Patriots out of one of them though.
Hey,
The Patriots are the first team to ever be flexed out of Monday Night Football.
they flexed out a Kelsey game.
Yep.
Okay,
Anyway.
I'm gonna make this quick. I don't think this team is that bad compared to what they should have been or what people thought they were coming into the season, but I don't think they're anywhere close to as good as the Chiefs. I want the Chiefs -6. I think the Chiefs easily beat the Packers by a touchdown. I know Watson came back and has looked better, and I know Love has at least stayed consistent. That I will give him credit for. He's been consistently good, but I don't think he can get to great. And when you face great quarterbacks, you have to be great. And I don't think Love has that gear. I don't think it's his fault. I think that defense isn't as good as they once were. I think to not make them at least a 7-point dog is a mistake. Give me the Chiefs.
Yep, no disagreement with you there.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I don't want to spend too much time on that game. Evan, you got your pick?
I would have picked that one. It was in my list.
Yep. So I will close us out. I'm going to pick the Atlanta Falcons at -2 over the New York Jets.
That was the pick'em I was looking at picking. If I was gonna pick it, I was like, do I do
All
the pick'em or do the big spread? Oh,
All 8 of my picks got taken. Like that was my list this week. Those were the only games I wanted part of.
Well, I don't want to spend too much time on this one either because if we've been paying attention, the Jets defense is the only good thing they have going for them. And even with an Arthur Smith mismanaged Atlanta Falcon team, they should have no problem getting this Jets defense so tired that they just end up just not being able to stop everything that they get thrown at them. The Jets are starting Tim Boyle at quarterback still. It's not going to be pretty even against a shitty Falcon defense that's not very good. Jets have the least amount of first downs in the NFL at 159. 20 turnovers on their offense. Third worst yards per play. Second least passing yards total. Third most sacks taken. It's just not pretty for the Jets. I don't see how they're going to keep up with the Falcons on the scoreboard, so fuck the Jets. Give me the Falcons.
I just want to make one quick point, and this is really quick and easy. If the Falcons played in a better division, both coaches would be considered fireable. I think that both coaches deserve to be fired. These teams are terrible. Because the Falcons play in such a bad division, Arthur Smith might survive another season, and to me that's a shame. I don't think either coach has done enough to promote their talent in any way. I think Tim Boyle should have been starting weeks ago. He stuck with Zach Wilson too long and basically cost his team the playoffs. Salah needs to be fired, and so does Arthur Smith.
if you're not looking at the data, what I want to hear from all three of you. Is Tim Boyle better than Zach Wilson?
Yeah.
Listen, when I ask if Tim Boyle is better than Zach Wilson, that's a tough one because Tim Boyle's never done anything good, and it's probably since high school apparently. Because in college he was terrible. So in the NFL he's been terrible. Zach Wilson at least was good in college, I guess.
No, that's the problem, Donnie. To me, is Zach Wilson thinks he's good. Like he will do the sidearm throws. He will scramble out of the pocket trying to make too much happen when he doesn't have the arm talent or the IQ or the awareness to know that like I can't do this. And so like he has that like Matthew Stafford or Patrick Mahomes flair for the dramatics, but he doesn't have the skill, and that gets him in trouble. Where Tim Boyle doesn't do any of that because he knows he
Tim
can't.
Boyle's just terrible in general, and he's just one of the worst quarterbacks I will probably ever see play.
Well, that's it. He's not trying to be the sharp knife, Donnie, because he knows he's not a sharp knife. He's just doing what he can do. He's more conservative, which is exactly what that team needs because of their defensive power, in my opinion. Gov, you have anything to add to that or no?
Nope. You all said pretty well on that one.
All right, so you guys ready to build a lineup then?
Let's do
I
it.
think we can build a lineup. Sure.
Actually, we're doing quite well on time, so we might actually get out of here early or build a couple lineups if you want. This week, to me though, it's like to Zach Moss or not Zach Moss. Like that's really what this week comes down to.
Yep.
Say what, Donnie?
I said yes.
I also think we need to deal with Miami in some way, whether that is Tyreek, whether that is Mostert, whether that is Waddle. But I do feel like our lineup should include some piece of Miami in
Well,
an
that's why.
absolute smash boss against Washington.
Yeah, well, that correlates with kind of how I wanted to think about this slate. I really just want you guys to tell me which guy you think is going to score the most points this week. Because this is one of the rare weeks where, like, whether you think it's Tyreek going to get 40 or you think it's CMC going to get 35, like, this is one of the rare weeks where we could fit all of our favorite plays in a lineup if we chose to do that. So, without the price being considered, who's your favorite plays this week?
Well, one of mine is I have like two that I really like this week. One of them's a quarterback though, so
Going off of the last point with Gov bringing up the Dolphins, I think Tyreek is a must even at his price.
Yeah, like I have no problem trying to just fit in Tyreek.
Well, that's the thing is, like, Tyreek could easily go for 40, and if he fails, like, what does failure look like for Hill, honestly?
I mean, 30 points probably would be failure for Tyreek against the Commanders, who are absolute ass at trying to stop the passing game.
To be fair, though, like on this slate, like you have Tyreek, you have McCaffrey, you have like A.J. Brown, but then after that, there's no guaranteed 30-point scores on this slate.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of guys who can definitely get you 25. So like if Tyreek gets you 30, he's probably good. Because it's not like there's a bunch of people getting 30. And like if like the guys who would also get 30 in my mind are like the Miami running backs or maybe McCaffrey. And so you could probably just play them with Tyreek.
I actually think there is one guy we haven't mentioned yet. For me, it's Kamara.
I hate playing Kamara this week, but
yeah, I'm not big on Kamara. I think Detroit smashes. So like our pick says Detroit smashes. So like if they're up, I could see the path to Kamara getting targets and playing well.
He's not my favorite. I just want to mention, like, there are ways to go.
Like, if you want to just throw Tyreek out, because I think we all agree Tyreek has the highest raw points ceiling. I really like Ayuk this week. Like, you can throw on Philly, and like I think a lot of people are going to be looking at Debo from his logs the past few weeks, and some people may even be willing to go to Kittle at that same $6,200 price. and 7,200 Ayuk is going to get overlooked.
Look,
Yeah.
mine is Zach Moss, and the price will be considered, of course, and like that's a way to fit in Tyreek Hill. But guys, we talked about who could score 40 points. We forget when Zach Moss had the backfield without Taylor in the lineup, he did almost put up 40 points. So it's not just that he's cheap. He put up almost 40 points in this role. So like, forget the price. Like, don't use that if you want to. It's like, like I just think it's criminally a mistake to not play him this week. I honestly believe that.
I feel the same way about Zach Moss. See,
Yeah.
Logan's gonna hate the guy that I really like this week, though, because
Okay, so you agree there. They agreed on Hill. Who do you want, Donnie? Let's see if we can come to some consensus.
I know you're not gonna like it, and I don't think anyone else is gonna like it either. But I really, really like Russell Wilson this week.
I don't think you're wrong for wanting to play him.
5,800 in a game I expect them to win. If
5,700 for a guy who's averaging 18 fantasy points per game is a bargain.
yes, I feel that way as
No
well.
disagreement there.
Okay, so do we want to put Russell in here just to see what we can do?
Yes,
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, let's do it.
And then let's see, because like, but do you guys agree with me about the Moss thing? Because I know Donnie wanted to play it, and I didn't want to play it, so we're kind of going with like what we feel. But like, forget the price, because obviously the price is just he's underpriced. Like he should be 6,000, and if they could reprice it, they probably would have him around 6,000. But he's already put up over 30 points this week, and so like if we're gonna play that narrative, he already makes sense regardless of the price.
I would say put him in, but I think like especially with going Russ at quarterback, we may have money left over, and if we do, I would definitely look at throwing it on Moss and
Well,
getting
what
off
if
of
we
him
could?
first.
What if we could get Tyreek and McCaffrey?
Well,
I
we
mean,
can.
there's ways to definitely do it.
You can do it.
Just
I
would
feel
I
like
rather
odds are
prioritize McCaffrey with Tyreek, or would I rather prioritize like AJ Brown or something?
Yeah, fair.
I think St. Brown is a really good play this week because he's just slightly under those guys, but he's been way more consistent.
I don't like St. Brown this week. I just don't know if they're gonna have to put up points, and they're playing a good defense. So,
See, I'm with it. Like I'm not. I don't think New Orleans defense is gonna like be amazing, but I do think Detroit is going to be up, so they will not need to push with the air. And St. Brown, I give you his consistency in targets, but that consistency comes with a lack of a ceiling that he hasn't had.
Yeah, I get that. So if this is the ceiling lineup and we're shooting for the highest upside, so it sounds like we're shooting for guys that get 30.
I think it's either McCaffrey or Brown is the next guy in, because those are the guys at the top. Like I've heard people talk about Keenan against New England, but I think I'd rather have one of McCaffrey or AJ Brown. So like, which one of those two would you guys rather have?
McCaffrey.
Evan?
I think I have to agree with McCaffrey because he can do more than Keenan.
The reason I want McCaffrey though is because I think a lot of people will want to go Brock Purdy, McCaffrey, and Brock Purdy's around Russell Wilson's price. So like we put in McCaffrey and we keep the Wilson, it gets us different. Like Wilson makes our Hill McCaffrey lineup different, and then offensively Moss just makes it affordable.
So for the second wide receiver beneath Tyreek, we gotta go Cortland Sutton. Am I wrong?
Yeah. Yes. That's exactly right.
I was gonna say Sutton is probably the best receiver on Denver to go with Russell. I don't want to go Judy.
No Judy, please.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I'm way more likely to go Sutton here than I would be Williams.
Javante?
I wasn't even thinking of Javante, honestly. I like if we needed to go either Sutton or Judy or that.
Well, a lot of people like him at running back this week. I don't think they're pairing him with Russell, but like that's my point. Is because we have Russell, I think it's a good way to get off of Javante.
Now I do think like since we've jammed in McCaffrey, we should just take the obvious value with our bring back. and just go with Brevin Jordan at tight end.
Yes, I was just going to mention that.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It's a good bring back.
Just take the minimum salary tight end. It's a bring back. It correlates.
Well, think about this, because I mentioned I don't think there's going to be a lot of points. If you don't think there's going to be a lot of points, this line could still get there just based on consistency, given how cheap Russell and Jordan are. Where if we take a Tank Dell, who's like almost 7,000, you need that 20 points from it. Jordan, you only need like 10 maybe. Evan, I know you didn't like that pick because we talked about it earlier this week. So tell me a guy that you like in this lineup because you've been quiet. I know you might be sucking on a cough drop trying to stay quiet, but give us somebody you're thinking about.
Try not to give the people at home my COVID cough. So I will say, though, that I'm not... I think Brevin Jordan is athletic, but I don't think he's going to be a good replacement for Dalton Schultz. Getting a couple of catches is absolutely plausible, but banking on him to fall in the end zone is not something I'm ready to do against a Denver defense that is starting to really come around. I would rather spend a little more money on a guy like a Cade Otton or even a Donald Parham, for that matter.
You talk about falling in the end zone. That's what you want with Parham. He's not even the starting tight end.
No, but actually, I just realized that Everett is like $200 more than Parham. I'd even go with Everett over somebody like a Brevin Jordan, which is $1,000 difference. But if we're gonna go cheap at tight end,
that $1,000 can mean a lot. Like,
that
especially when
$1,000
we're trying to put
much.
in McCaffrey and Tyreek. Like, that $1,000 is very useful.
If you're right, Evan, you can do the dance on all of the graves, but this makes too much sense with our bring back. I gotta vote you off the island on this one, buddy.
I didn't even know we were on an island. Damn. So I'll go with the third wide receiver here. I know we got to go cheap here. I guess the question is how cheap, because
I mean, we would not stupidly, because like we still have a defense.
Let me just plug in the
Like,
cheapest
you
defense.
can still be in the 5 to 6K range, and we can make stuff fit.
okay, yeah. So let's just plug in the Commanders' horrible defense just for the sake of it. Okay.
Right.
So now that gives us a clearer picture. Okay. So I like a lot of these wide receivers in the high 4,000, low 5,000 range, like Josh Downs, Deontay, even Drake London for that matter, Pickens. Like, I like a lot of those this week. But I would even... Well, Garrett Wilson's price is too hefty. Damn it. Yeah.
Oh, we have the money. Oh shit! Why do these have to work out so long? Oh, I know what I want to do with it. I know what the final two players I would want is. That fits.
Just throw them out there. Throw them out there.
We play Ayuk, who I want to play. He's my favorite wide receiver.
Okay.
I was thinking about it.
That leaves us 3,700, which we then Dortch it up.
Greg Dortch?
Dortch it?
We go to the Dortch.
Yeah, I knew, that's what I was thinking too, man.
And
Like, the money just fits. I'm like, when I saw it, I'm like, oh, it so exactly fits. Ah!
instead of Greg Dortch, though, could I mention maybe Mingo?
Why?
New offense, already getting
defense,
tons of targets.
Maybe.
Say what, Donnie?
To get off that defense, I'd do it because if I'm playing Tyreek with
That's what I'm
upside
saying is
30
he
points,
gives you a bit more money too to get to a better defense.
like if you're just saying I'm going to take a 0, possibly negative points on the Commanders' defense, and hope that Tyreek and everyone else just.
I mean, we can play Dortch. Don't get me wrong. I'm saying like that's a perfectly good play. I'm just saying like if we go slightly cheaper, Mingo's still getting just as many targets with the new offensive coordinator because they fired Josh McCown too. It does give
or
us a lot
A.T. Perry, baby. I don't know. If we go A.T. Perry.
Yeah, Perry would make some sense too. So what do you guys think? Mingo?
You guys want the puke? You guys want the puke correlation?
Yeah, you could give me that. I'm fine with the puke
Julio.
correlation.
No.
No, screw you.
3,100. Then you have money.
No, I'm
There
not
you
doing
go.
that.
He saw 70% of the snaps
You're
last
disgusting.
week.
You're disgusting.
No, I'm not doing that.
I'm playing Juju before I play Julio.
Come on, Julio.
No, I'm not doing Julio.
Yeah, Julio is on the field for so much and does nothing.
Yeah, and is that gonna happen against San Francisco, or is he gonna fall into
Come
the
on.
end zone like an
I'm the
old
biggest
fart?
legacy Julio fan on this podcast, and I can't do it.
It correlates with our two San Francisco guys.
I mean, we talked about a Saints.
Correlate these outs. How about that?
We talked about a Saints guy. Williams makes some sense too. Jameson Williams has seen still an amazing amount of
Now,
area
Jameson
yards.
Williams, I could do. Because
I could do
he's
Jameson
another
Williams.
guy who's getting a few more. And if Detroit stomps New Orleans, they probably do some throwing, but
And,
it will mostly be through Gibbs and Montgomery.
and that's the thing is a lot of people will go to that St. Brown, to that A.J. Brown range, and they won't play, obviously, Williams and St. Brown. So that's an option there.
But Jameson Williams barely gets any work.
He has been seeing more snaps recently, and the coach came out this week and said he has earned a bigger role in the offense.
I feel like they've been saying that about him since they drafted him, though.
They've said that he should fit into a role, but this week specifically said he will have a bigger role in the offense moving forward. He's earned it.
The reason I like it though, Evan, is we don't need a whole lot of usage from him because of his air yards per he's averaging 26.
He has big playability.
Right.
We've been wanting to play him knowing he might only get 3 or 4 targets. If you told me he's going to get 6 like he did in the Baltimore game, I'd be much more willing to play a $3,600 Jameson.
Oh, absolutely. But that's the thing, is that he's only seen 6 targets once. Otherwise, he's getting 2 or 3.
Right. If the coaching staff said he's earned more targets and more work, then maybe this is that game he gets 5 to 6.
Just puke it together and play a Patriots receiver if you want to puke.
All right, we're playing Malik Cunningham somehow.
But
Tyquan Thornton season.
That's the problem though, is Detroit's going.
Jalen Reagor might make sense.
So what?
So we're
Jalen
playing
Reagor,
minimum salary Tyquan Thornton.
No. Tyquan Thornton does not get work. Jalen Reagor gets work over him. If you're playing that,
so we're
I was
playing
gonna
Tyquan
say, are we
Thornton.
really playing a Patriot? So we're already playing the Denver-Houston game that has a low total, and now you want to play a team that might not even.
I'm just saying, if he absolutely hates this JMO play that much, that's going to be the play. It's going to be a Patriot.
Jameson Williams has more touchdowns than any of your quarterbacks on the Patriots.
I'm rathering Jameson Williams, but I'm just saying these are our options. That's what we have. It's Jameson Williams, which is the best play out of all of them, or playing a Patriot receiver in hoping that they don't just completely crap the bed.
Yeah. I like
Julio?
Mingo or Williams.
Well, I'm not playing Julio.
I think we agree with that.
We'll play double tight end with Hunter Henry. Let's go.
So, are we going Greg? let's just cross these guys off the list. Are we playing Greg Dortch? Because the Commanders are the only way to do that.
No. I don't want to play the Commander's defense. I feel like
no
we probably...
Yeah, we have to do something to get off the Commanders.
So then it's Mingo or Williams. I'm going to let Evan and Donnie fight that one out.
Is it possible to go down to an alternative, a cheaper option than
AJ
Ayuk?
Brown instead of Tyreek. We could go AJ Brown instead of Tyreek. It just
Okay.
correlation.
I mean, if we want to get off Hill, then I think A.J. Brown could be an option.
No, I won't.
Okay, then never mind. You can't do that.
All right.
I could see going from Ayuk to Debo if everyone else wanted to do that.
I'm fine with Debo.
I
It's
can
whatever.
do that. I won't get off because I think Hill can score 40. I don't think there's anyone else on the slate that can do that.
Yeah, and the thing about Debo, too, is that he's going to take at least, 2 or 3 rushing attempts?
Yeah.
So he's going to do more than Ayuk.
He might steal a...
You could argue that he is a better player if you're not going to play Brock because, like you say, they're rushing upside.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's necessarily a guarantee for falling into the end zone or whatever, but they love using Debo in more ways than just throwing him the ball. So I like that.
I do agree with you, though. If we did play Brock, then I would like Ayuk a lot more.
Yeah.
What do we have with 47 at the flex? I mean,
See, that's a little more money to work with.
Judy, and you could just go triple. I mean, I don't want to, but you could.
Oh.
Dotson as a bringback makes sense.
I like Dotson as the bringback here.
I would rather go Curtis Samuel as a bringback, and then you can get off the Commanders' defense.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. We still. Logan, why is it. We got off somebody to not play Commander's defense. You got me all confused.
I put them in there just to see how high we could get.
Well, you can't play Hill in the Commander's defense. That makes no sense.
No, yeah, that's why I'm looking below 4,700.
I didn't even realize they were still in there. That was my point. I wouldn't.
So I as much as Dotson at 46 works, I think I'd rather go to 41 and play Samuel.
I have to agree with the Samuel pick.
Go to Samuel. That makes sense.
Samuel gets a lot of work too, and I think like he did get a lot of work, and I think if he played on a Sunday, his price would have already went up. I truly believe they kept him at that price because he played on Thursday, because he played on a condensed slate that most people might not even play. Honestly, I think he would be almost closer to 5,000.
That hurts so bad. We were 100 away from my favorite defense, the Lions.
Yep, same damn.
Can I make a suggestion too? Play the Broncos defense, and then maybe we could upgrade tight end. Because we're gonna have an extra 200.
Because
200 isn't gonna do volume enough.
We need Denver to score though, because we're playing Russell.
Yeah, we need Denver to score so it doesn't correlate well.
Because Denver doesn't push the ball as it is.
I could see Titans defense.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, never mind my idea, because that would only bring us up to like Jack Stoll.
What about isn't Horn playing this week, Gov?
J.C. Horn.
I could see the Carolina Panthers playing a little bit more motivated with a new coach, and they are playing.
That's
Baker.
the crazy pick down here, but yeah.
I don't like it, Logan. They're not good.
If I'm doing it. I'm just playing the Titans and hoping Gardner Minshew makes a mistake. Oh no, we can't because we're playing Zach Moss. Never mind.
Titans defense sucks anyway.
Everyone plays Zach Moss. It's like.
Well, we are playing 249ers. We could go down to Brock Purdy and play the Broncos defense.
How much is Brock?
He's 61. So you go up by 400.
Oh, I thought he was.
Now, we can get crazy and play my second favorite stack and go with the Steelers stack.
No.
Go to Pickett and Pickens.
I honestly think the only way to do this would be to like if you went to Purdy, then you don't have to play Sutton. So then you could change Sutton in the defense.
Yeah, that's a good point. But do you like Sutton? Because Sutton's solid volume.
But Sutton, honestly, I like him, but I would only play him because of Russ. So if we get off Purdy, I would be fine getting off Sutton.
And I already told you I think this game has a little total. So, Donnie was the one who loved it. So what do you think, Donnie?
I don't love getting off him for Purdy. Because we're already playing Debo, and if we're playing Purdy, I want to play Ayuk.
True.
Okay.
So we would need 400 and then 5K, so 4. So that would leave us.
And I know Jared has thrown in.
So again, now we would okay. So just throwing this out there, you could turn Russell Wilson and Sutton into Purdy. Some $3,800 wide receiver, turn Debo back into Ayuk, and then you can still do 3K for the Lions defense.
Okay, that's better. That's better.
I like that better. What do you think, Evan?
I'm trying to think. I think you have 39 left instead of Sutton. So Dortch is in play, but every cheap wide receiver is in play. You don't have to go all the way down to the Julios and the.
Yeah, and then I'm just playing Dortch.
Yeah, and I probably would just play Dortch at that point. Elijah Moore is right there. I would be okay with him because of his volume, but that's a dart throw.
No,
thinking
we don't know what the
helps somehow. But yeah, you could go Purdy, then you could get off Sutton. Just get rid of him, and then get rid of Debo and put in Ayuk. Because
I actually like Ayuk better when you play Brock, but I like Sutton or I like Samuel more without Gronk.
All right,
Oh,
now
fine.
you can put in the Lions defense.
Which I think a lot of people are going to hate
Yep,
to play.
39. Okay. I thought that's what we'd have.
And we're just gonna leave 200 on the table.
Unless you want to play Bobby Trees.
I'm good.
Nah, yeah, I was about to say, like, I'm fine 200 on the table. Again, I'd find 300 on the table if you wanted to play J-Mo instead of Dortch.
Yeah,
I think I'd rather play Dortch for a safety play.
Not just Dortch against a pit. Well,
I would say an underrated guy might be Elijah Moore too.
Yeah,
He's
that
got-
was the
Not
other
with
one I
Joe
said. Like,
Flacco.
the
Not with Joe
Cleveland,
Flacco,
more
I
from
don't
Cleveland, yeah. Like, if he gets 7 to 8 targets from Joe Flacco, it could be helpful.
we don't know if he's going to get any targets from Joe Flacco.
He's gotten a lot of work with the rookie though.
That's, because he probably started off low end of the depth chart and they practiced in training camp together.
No, he's always been the number 2 wide receiver
He's
behind
been
Cooper
the
all
number
year.
two.
Yes, but in training camp they were easing it in a little bit, I'm sure. Or whatever. It was a little after
I mean, he
training camp.
beat out
Trade, right?
Donovan's people Jones pretty much.
I
in
mean,
training
I'm
camp.
not trying to say he's great, Donnie, but I'm just saying at this range he is considerable.
Like,
And I think-
if you think Flacco's
No,
going to come in
no,
and somewhat
not with
run
Flacco.
the Cleveland
Yeah,
offense,
I
then
don't
he
think
should
he is.
still give him 7 targets.
I don't think he is, though. I think Flacco's going to get absolutely slaughtered.
fair enough. That's
Aaron
the reason we
Donald's
do
gonna-
this though, is for a theory perspective.
Aaron
This
Donald,
might be
the problem is, like,
the-
Cleveland actually has a good offensive and defensive line. So, like, Aaron Donald's, like, Flacco would do just as good as any of their other quarterbacks that are no longer able to play for them. So, like, would you just be assuming Aaron Donald's going to destroy Deshaun Watson or any of the other guys? Or are
The
you
difference-
just thinking that Flacco's going to get killed?
And you got to remember the rookie
Flacco doesn't know
also,
the playbook as well. That's the thing. It's not like he doesn't know this offense. When was the last time he's been in a passing offense? Has he ever
Well,
even been in I mean,
that's kind of what we talked about in the beginning though. I would rather play a Sutton or these type of guys, but we're talking about this range though, Donnie.
yeah,
And
and
so like,
there's a
I'm okay
bunch
if
of
you-
guys at this range that I'd rather play.
Yeah. That's what I was just gonna say. If you're okay, if you don't want to play, I'm fine with that. It's just like
Yeah,
you
no, I
guys
think
have-
we all agree it's just Dortch.
It's Dortch or JMO. That's the only question. Like, I might legitimately play Jennings over Moore just because of how much I don't like that Browns offense this week.
Yeah, I think we're good leaving 200 on the table.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, there's no, like, if it were 5 or 6 where we could get off a Moss to a different running back, then maybe. But 200 doesn't get us anywhere.
It would be
Did-
tough.
I hit the wrong button here, but did you want to build a second lineup or no? I think we are okay on time.
Yeah, we can build a second one.
So let's
Yeah.
the second one. Did you get Russ in this one though?
Yeah, let's at least do the Russ Sutton stack for this one.
Unlimited points, unlimited. Mr. Unlimited.
Okay.
Oh God,
So we want to.
unlimited diarrhea.
I want to make sure
Oh, I
it's easier
cannot
for
believe
all
how
the 3
much-
inch max. So let me just use this lineup.
Ugh.
Gov, you okay with the Russell boy?
Yeah, I'm fine. We'll make
I
this
think
one work.
I think it's okay. Like I'm not
We'll
against
ride
it, but
with
I'm
it.
not for it.
We'll ride with it. I'm gonna keep making Broncos puns all show long, baby.
I like how cheap it is, but I think I'd rather play Stafford personally.
Against a good Cleveland defense. Very
Yes.
good Cleveland defense.
Yeah,
It'll be interesting because, like I say, Stafford and Schwartz know each other. So, like, which one has the leg up? I really do think there is something to that narrative.
I'd still rather ride with the hot streak of the Broncos against a
I'm
decent
fine-
Houston defense.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm fine with this price range. This is the price range I feel like you should be attacking with quarterbacks. That's why I'm okay with this.
Yeah, so I think we should start with this and then figure it out from here.
Can we bounce off and diversify what we played last time? Like instead of playing, Ayuk or McCaffrey, we get onto a Debo.
Yeah, because I still love Debo.
As long as we don't
That's-
bring back as long as we don't bring back a Houston player that's over like 5K, I'm happy because I don't think Houston's.
I think Nico Collins is the only one I'd play. Like that's the only one.
If Noah Brown is in, I would play him.
Okay, that's a good point.
And I feel like he's trending. I thought I saw that he's trending in.
He is expected to play.
So like I would go Noah Brown.
I forgot that I would do. Like I said, under 5K. Because the thing is, Tank came in banged up this week, so I'm.
Yes, he's still questionable, but he will play. Like
So our wide receivers should be Sutton, Debo, and then Noah Brown.
if
Yeah,
we
I
want
agree with that.
we're not sure about Noah Brown, but if he fits in it later, we can throw him in, I guess.
Let's do this.
At 4,500, he's solid. Like he works.
If Brown doesn't play, where would you want me to pivot? I guess, and then we don't get to answer that now, but like just keep that in the back of your mind, and I can make that pivot. I still think we need to go Zach Moss here.
I'm 100%ing him already, so I don't know how Gov
Don't
about it.
actually think we'll need him because I don't plan on playing Tyreek or McCaffrey in this lineup.
Well, we could throw him in there and see what we can work with. Like, we haven't played A.J. Brown yet. I do want to diversify and get, like, a lot of that game in different ways.
That is something, too, is like, what if we don't play anyone in the 9K range and we load up on, like, that like, high upside 8K range? Whether that be running back or wide receivers. And then we can even pay up at tight end.
Right. Like, we could go Taysom Hill and, like, really go upside there.
Because I like Brown, AJ Brown this week. I think a lot of people have been against him. I think Smith kind of smashed. I think this could be an AJ Brown. You like this play, didn't you, Gov?
Yeah, it could like. I like AJ Brown if I'm playing San Francisco guys. So like doing Debo and then AJ for our third wide receiver in our flex could work actually.
So we're not playing Debo?
I thought I already had him in. I was waiting on Logan.
Okay, I wasn't sure. Like I knew we thought about it. I wasn't sure we were committed.
I don't see why not.
I'm good with it.
I just want to get the different pieces. Like, we know the San Francisco game should hit, so why not get a piece of it everywhere? Like, I don't know. We've now hit on all the major pieces.
I kind of like that was where we pick these games that we think are go under the radar.
See, the only problem is like the one thing I wanted to make sure is like, what are we doing with Miami in this lineup?
You want to get a Miami guy in?
Well, like I think I don't think Miami doesn't score points.
Okay, so what Miami guy do you want to play? Do we want to go Waddle, or do we want to go running back, or do we want to just throw Hill in again?
I'd rather like try a shot at Mostert or A-Chain.
I'd rather
the same way.
I'd still rather play Waddle just because the Commanders are better at stopping the run than they are at stopping the pass.
That's a little bit misconstrued though because they
remember they have a new defensive coordinator too.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
They had Sweat and Young to start off the year, so I don't know how much it is like. That might change.
Well, I mean, even then, I think they're gonna get up early with one of those two guys, and then, well, regardless, I think the defense is gonna be tired to the point where it probably won't matter.
Yeah, I would just go Mustard because I know he's healthy.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Andrew,
I'm not against taking a shot on A-Chain at 400 less, but them being so close, I think I just take Mostert, who's probably going to get the majority of the work.
So we do have a question here from Andrew Apostolakis here. Love that Tyson Bagent photo, by the way. 32-man league. Who do I start at quarterback? Bailey Zappi or Joe Flacco? I have Josh Allen on bye. I think the answer is Flacco here.
Yeah, probably Flacco.
I think that the Rams are going to push the Browns a lot more than the Chargers will push the Patriots. Like, you got to remember I think the Chargers want to win this game at all costs. So if they got to do it with running the ball, like, I just think the Rams are more likely to put up points. We saw it last week. I would go Joe Flacco here.
Can you
Yeah,
say that last name again, Evan?
I said Apostolakis. I hope I said that right. Andrew, if I mispronounce that, you let me know.
Listen, that sounds pretty damn good. It was better than my attempt would have been, that's for sure.
What were you gonna say?
I don't know, but I wouldn't. You sound like you hit it right on the head.
I would have went
man.
with the Toy Story Andy. I wouldn't even call it Andrew. I would have said Andy and left it at that, and we would have moved on. So I appreciate that take.
I know my Greek last names, or at least I think I do.
All right. Yeah,
So-
but Flacco probably would be the answer.
Yeah, because I'm not convinced Bailey Zappi's going to be in a quarterback the whole game. They might even stick Malik in there for a few plays, right?
He will play a few plays, is the rumor.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So he
So-
might still go in touchdowns even if they get there.
Yeah, true.
So,
So I'm fine with Mostert at running back. I think we can live with that because I mean, even though I did say the Commanders were better at stopping the run, it's not like it's going to be like shut down defense. But
okay, you want another gross play?
what's that?
Yeah.
Ramondre.
what's so gross
That's
about
not
that?
Gross. It's not gross.
Because
like
it's a
that.
goddamn Patriot.
I like
Ramondre this week.
You're a Patriots fan.
Ramondre is like the only good
No.
offensive piece they got.
No, Logan can attest to this. I was a big Ramondre hater when he got drafted.
Like, we have the money. We could go Ramondre. We do not need Zach Moss in this lineup.
No, I was before you mentioned him. I was gonna look at a Moss AJ Brown pairing because we have a 49er. So I was looking at the skinny. Let's see what else we could do here then.
So if I told you we could still probably make A.J. Brown work, what would you say?
I would say let's do it, baby.
Sure.
We would
Yeah,
have
you
about
wouldn't bring back?
$3K each for a tight end and a defense. So again, you're looking at Brevin Jordan range tight end and a decent defense, or you're looking at like the Lions and a whatever.
Tyler Conklin.
Yeah. Yeah, you're looking at stuff like it would be like punt, but like we were going to do that at defense and tight end most likely anyway.
Conklin at least gets targets though.
Conklin is my second favorite tight end this week.
Yeah, let's go Conklin and get AJ Brown in there because I do like Conklin this week as well.
Yeah.
See, and I kind of like getting like Logan Thomas on the other side, but I don't think we have I don't think we have enough. We'd have to do a real shit
I do
that
like
would
that.
be like Panthers defense now, like
I mean, I
or
like
new that. Look, honestly, what that would be is New England defense with Ramondre. Now, are you puking?
Now you're
Now are
saying,
you disgusting?
yeah,
If
now
we
we're
pair the defense and the quarterback
yeah.
and go
Defense
Ramondre
that
New
can't
England?
get a single sack. Yeah, let's play them.
Yeah, yeah. Herbert's going to throw 3 picks.
Look, I do like the correlation of Logan Thomas, though, but I think Conklin is the player.
Yeah, listen, I'll pass on the correlation and just get the plays that I like.
All right,
Yeah.
and then you can go AJ Brown at the flex.
And it makes sense because he's a late game too, so I like it when the late game already fits into your flex.
Mm-hmm.
Makes my job easier.
And we have 3,100. So we got the Lions, we got the Browns, we got the Niners. Well, we won't play the
I
Niners.
think the Browns are the play here because Stafford is known for taking sacks, even though I think they'll win this game and they can put up points.
The
Stafford
Browns,
will-
like the one thing the Browns have is a really, really good defense.
Yes,
Right.
that's true. Like I said last week, was it last week? It might have been 2 weeks ago. With the Browns and Steelers game, 13-10 might be the final again.
Look, the Browns, I think, are the highest projected fantasy scorer this season, and you're getting them at 31. Now, I like them to lose, but like we almost need the more the Rams drop back to pass, which obviously they like to do, the more likely they are to score fantasy points. So like they could give up points and still get a ton of sacks and interceptions and still get us there.
I think this lineup, the way we have it right now, is perfect unless we have to swap out Noah Brown for some reason, even though he is expected to play.
I was just going to do that just to force you guys to look at it now. What would you guys want? I think it's Johnson from the Chargers, but that would be me.
I'd rather play Curtis Samuel.
Yeah, I would not want to play Johnson.
Oh,
No.
Samuel would make some sense there too because we have Mostert.
See,
Yeah.
if that happened, we could always get off Ramondre and go up at receiver.
See, I think you just go straight to Robert Woods.
Eh.
We're playing a Houston wide receiver. If he's out,
Yeah,
I think you just go to Robert Woods.
Yeah,
Woods
makes
doesn't get enough work though.
I mean,
if
if he's out and now Schultz is out, I think he goes back to one of these 8-9 target games he's had before. Because there's only going to be him, Nico, and Collins,
You
and then
gotta remember,
Brevin Jordan.
That is a good point. I
I
would.
get that, if everyone's in and Brown's in, yeah, he's probably only getting 3 targets.
Mhm.
Yeah,
But if it's just those 3 guys and Brevin Jordan, it really depends. Are they going to just be able to run all over Denver? Because if that's the case, then no one's really going to get a lot of targets. But
And if you
that's
looked
an
at
entirely
the
different
wide,
game script.
if you looked at the wide receiver for Houston, who is the most likely to be the tight end kind of replacement? It would be a Woods like guy.
Can you put Woods in and see what else we could go up to though? If we did that, we'd move up at tight end, right?
I'd rather play Brown though by far over Woods.
yeah.
No. But if let's say Brown's ruled out in this scenario, put Woods in,
Okay.
and what could we move up to at tight end?
We'd have
Oh, tight end.
600. You could go again. Now you could do the Logan Thomas thing like I wanted to.
There you
Bingo.
go. So that would be the change. That's your
Okay.
Yeah,
so go to
if
Woods,
Brown's
Thomas.
out, you go Woods Thomas over Brown Conklin.
Jonathan Taylor Thomas got it.
Yep, Logan. The other Logan, yes.
Yeah, the other one, the more famous one.
Yep.
Okay, but I like that Brown is questionable all the way through until Saturday because his ownership is going to be way lower,
True.
way lower.
I think
And
even if he's ruled out, I don't think Woods is going to pull that much ownership either.
let's be honest, he won us money already. So
But
if
it
we're
will
gonna
be a
lose-
highly condensed target share. So
if we're going to lose money, I'd rather do it on a guy who's already made me money this year. And Noah Brown's made us money. And I know I shit on this game earlier, but we have a lot of this game in our best ball. So we believe in a lot of these plays. Stevenson as well talking about best ball exposure. So we're nothing but if not consistent, I guess.
Conklin.
We gotta go back to Conklin. Is there anything else you guys want to do tonight? Anything else you want to talk about? Anything? Because we're 12 hours away from the slate, so this is your time to shout out anything declarative if you got something to tell the people.
Back to the college football topic that we started with the show. Michigan Wolverines, led by Jim Harbaugh, just shut out the Iowa Hawkeyes for the Big Ten championship.
Okay, me and Logan were talking about this earlier while we're on college football topic. The spread for Iowa, for their not spread, I guess, but the point total was at 0.5 points per half. All they needed to do was score a point each half, and then you would have won your bet. So whoever bet on them to score under 0.5 points won that per half.
And I told you that I would not have bet that in the first half. I did end up betting them to score some points in this game, but I did not bet the first because I knew when this game was competitive, there was no way that Michigan was giving up to Iowa. Iowa's been terrible this season, and then they lost their starting quarterback earlier a couple weeks ago. Iowa's been bad.
They are tight end U, though, so they're going to keep churning out great tight ends for years to come, right?
Probably.
Yeah, maybe. But, hey, look at Brock Bowers, man. He might change that to a Georgia thing.
oh boy.
Florida State won 16-6 as well, so they probably are out. ACC championship isn't going to be enough. But who knows?
They're undefeated. I think they'll get in. Shout out to the 3 people that are watching this live. I stuck this up earlier as kind of a milestone achievement. Like I say, we got some shout out by a bigger profile this week. We got some attention on Twitter recently. We're really growing here. We're at 99 subscribers. If we could get to 100, just before Sunday, it would be tremendous. Just to be at that 100 mark would mean a lot to us. So if you could could just subscribe. It means the world. It doesn't do you guys any harm. Every week we come out with this show as late as possible, so that way we can give you the most up to date news. So like we might not be the smartest group, we might not be the most well known group, but we try to give you the most up to date information possible. That's how we find guys like Noah Brown. Because other podcasts, they're coming out a lot earlier in the week. We can at least give you the most up to date information. So that's what I appreciate the most. I want to thank the guys for joining me. Any last words for the people?
Yeah, on Florida State, I have one more thing. They had 55 pass yards. That's why they're going to be out. I
They
guarantee
could
it.
be in, but
I
who
know.
knows why?
Well,
There's a reason
All right.
There's a reason
Let's
we
keep
cover.
tanking, baby. Drake May to the Patriots. All right, that's all I have to say.
There's a reason we cover professional football, and I'd much rather talk about XFL and USFL. So this will be the last college topic we bring up for at least a month.
Probably the last college topic we bring up for a year.
I just hope my Bears get Marvin Harrison Jr. That would be phenomenal.
They
I would love
should
to see
pair him
it,
up with the former Ohio State Justin Fields. That'd be a good pairing.
Yeah.
And then pair them up with the Michigan coach Jim Harbaugh to really get that going.
Also, former Bear Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah. And let me tell you, as a guy who has Michigan roots, and the biggest Michigan fan I know is actually intimidated by this happening for Jim. Like, he does not want to lose Jim, and he knows that there's some real thought that he might lose Jim. Because he told me that Jim's wife is from Chicago as well. So, like, and Jim has said if he's going to go back to the NFL, it would be a blue collar kind of Midwestern team. He almost took the Vikings job as well. So, like, there is some flirtation with the NFL there. But with that being said, I don't want to keep you. I know you, like I said, you fought through the blue tent for us. You were on the injury report this week. You came through. So I don't want to keep us. We ran late with some of our other engagements. So I want to keep this nice and short. Have a good week, guys. Bet responsibly, stay safe, and have a happy holidays. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Night.
Peace out, everyone.